Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are going to be fashioning ourselves a little side hustle that we're going to execute alongside the mat every time in between our main mat sets. For our main mat sets, we are going to be on the back and on the side at the edge of the mat. Essentially, you're only going to be using the one half of your mat. The hustle that we are going to be playing with is a modified slider burpee walkthrough without the push-up. I'm going to demo it for you in a moment, but if you're not up to sliding alongside the mat, you can do a burpee walkthrough on the mat, or you can stick to just a basic standing roll down pattern through the body. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. All right, let's hit the mat. So I'm going to demo the burpee walkthrough. If you are working on a nice smooth surface like the laminate floor that I'm working with here, you can just put on a pair of thick fuzzy socks so that you can slide, make your core work a little bit harder. If you are working on a carpeted surface, you could perhaps use something like two pieces of cardboard or perhaps even two paper plates. If you've got slider discs, you can use those as well. All right, so we're going to find enough room to walk back into our burpee. You're going to think of softening the knees to place your hands on the floor. You're going to slide one leg back, slide the second leg back, slide your lead leg up, followed by the second, and come back to a standing pattern. Alternate your lead leg every time. Use your abs to control the slide of your leg back and the control slide back to your control line underneath the hip. Find your rhythm, alternating your lead leg. Let's do one more, then we're going to find our way onto the mat. So after your last slide back, you're going to simply roll onto your mat as elegantly as you can. Feet are going to be off the mat today. And we'll do our first round just finding a basic modified chest lift. Lying on the back, arms alongside the body, but we're going to do palms up today. Beginning in a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine. Inhale to prep. On an exhale, find a tilted imprint. Bleed up into a chest lift, floating your hands off the mat and reaching, and then back down. Let's shoot for 9 more. Hold your next one. Abs tight and contracted. Float back down to the mat and roll over onto one side, stacking your body in one long line. We're going to play with the top leg. We're going to find a drag pattern up and down, bending and extending the top leg, and pretending that the big toe on the top leg is on a slider rail, running up and down. Last one. Roll onto your back, Bend your knees, ground your feet. Coming back into your chest lift, palms up. Shoot for 10 reps. Excuse me. Two more, we'll hold the last one. Then roll onto the second side for your side play. Stack your body in one long line and begin to play with the top leg, dragging your big toe up and down the inseam of your bottom leg. Roll onto your back, bend your knees, ground your feet. We're going to add to that chest lift that we played with in the previous round. Palms up. Begin in neutral. Find your tilt and your imprint. As you bleed up into the chest lift, peel your toes off the mat. Hold the chest lift, slide both heels away and back, and then reground feet, head, shoulders, arms. All right, you've got the pattern. Let's shoot for 10. Make sure that you're peeling your toes off the mat and sliding on the heels of your feet or your socks, depending on whether you're using socks or a glider plate. Creating the flattest belly that you can as you peel up into that chest lift. So you're thinking belly button pull down and to the side. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Roll onto your side, stack your body in that long line. We're going to play with the top leg. You're going to bend to slide. We're going to kick up to the sky. We're going to bend again and retrace our path back 10 times. Halfway. Last one. Onto the back again. Make sure your arms are at your side, palms up. Take a moment to situate yourself. Begin with both feet fully grounded in a neutral spine. Tilt and imprint. As you bleed up into the chest lift and float your arms, float your toes off the mat, slide the legs away, and then reground your feet and your head and your shoulders. Start to find your rhythm, shooting for roughly 10 repeats. Last one. We're going to roll onto the second side. Find your long stack. Bend the top knee, drag along the inseam, kick up to the sky, bend the legs to retrace your path back to start. Shoot for 10 repeats. Once you've done your 10 repeats, roll onto your back, bend your knees, ground your feet, set yourself up for your chest lift. We are going to slide only one leg this time, and we'll do right leg. No, let's do left leg. So let's do left leg first on this side. All right, so we're beginning in neutral. We're going to tilt and imprint. We're going to bleed up into the chest lift. We're going to peel toes off. We're going to slide the left leg out and back, and then reground. Keep playing left. Remember to peel your toes off the mat on both feet as you come into the chest lift. Then roll onto the right side of the body so that your working side is on top. We're going to add to that drag pattern. So we're going to drag, we're going to kick, we're going to keep the leg extended, and we're going to drop back to our start position. 10 times. Once you've done roughly 10 repeats, you're going to roll onto your back, you're going to bend your knees, you're going to ground your feet. This time our working side is going to be the right leg. Begin in neutral, feet start grounded, tilt and imprint. As you bleed up into the chest lift, float your toes off the mat and slide the right leg only. Find your rhythm. Halfway. Last one, and we're going to roll onto the second side with our working leg on top. Stack your body in one long line. We're going to drag along the inseam, kick to the sky, keep the leg extended to drop and find your start line again. Once you've done roughly 10 repeats, roll off the mat and find your way to your side hustle. Peeling down to the floor, sliding one leg back, followed by the second, and then retracing your path back up, alternating your lead leg every time. Find your rhythm. Keep your core strong and braced as you're sliding through your burpee. If you're feeling strong, you can add a push-up before you slide the legs back. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll find our way back down to the mat. Last one. From your plank line, roll onto your mat, bending your knees, grounding your feet, and this time we're going to come to a T-arm frame, and we're going to do palms up. Let's find the arm movement first and the ab connection, and then we'll add legs. All right, so we're going to begin our movement with the feet grounded on the mat, arms at our side, T-frame. You're going to begin in neutral. You're going to give me a small tilt and imprint, thinking of hollowing out your belly and trying to round out your back as you hug into an imaginary tree. Hug into the tree, stopping with your arms in parallel, and feel your abs. And then release back to neutral. Let's do that 4 more times. Finding the arms, finding the abs, finding the tilt. Now that you've got the arm movement down, let's add a glute bridge. So as you hug your tree, you're going to peel your toes off the mat. In one fluid movement, you're going to peel up into a glute bridge, toes off the mat, and then come back down to your start position. So a glute bridge with a hug of your tree, toes off the mat as you're hugging. Remember to peel your toes off the mat every time you pike up into the glute bridge. Let's do 1 more. You're going to end with your arms overhead, and you're going to float them into a prayer-like steeple with a constant press into the 2 palms. We're going to tilt and imprint to pull the legs into a narrow tabletop line, squeezing the feet and the knees together. You're going to keep that soft, let's call it a mini imprint into the mat, and you're going to focus on opening and squeezing the knees shut. Keep the palms squeezing together the whole time. Lead your way onto the side of the body, stacking yourself in one long line. We're going to lift the top leg up, and we're going to trace a forward circle. Big circle. Inhaling for half, exhaling for half with a soft, reaching toe line. Find your way onto your back, bend your knees, ground your feet, and set up your T-frame arm, palms up. Hug your tree for 5, finding your tilted imprint. Now add your glute bridge into the mix. Remembering to peel your toes off the mat as you come into your bridge. Squeeze those glutes. The last one. Relax your feet and your bum back down to the mat. Squeeze your hands into an active prayer steeple. Think small tilt and imprint and pull your knees into a tabletop line. We're going to climb line out for 10. Keep that press into your palms. Last one. You're going to roll onto your side, setting yourself up on the mat. Long line. We're going to float the top leg up and we're going to start to trace a big circle, moving in the same direction. Once you've traced roughly 10 circles, you're going to find your way onto your back, bend your knees, ground your feet, and set up your T-frame arms. We're going to find a slide pattern. We're going to work one leg. Let's play left leg. So you're going to begin in neutral. You're going to think of finding your tree hug, your glute bridge. You're going to hold the bridge and you're going to slide your left leg away and back to reground. Shoot for roughly 10 repeats, keeping as level as you can through the hips. So try not to have too much of a profound drop on the left hip as you allow that leg to slide out. Remember to peel both toes off the mat, both sets of toes off the mat, if you can, when you come into your glute bridge. So you're resting the weight on the heels of both feet and you're sliding on the heel of the left leg. Last one. We're going to roll onto the side of the body. Working leg is going to be on top as we stack the body in one long line. We're going to lift, and this time we're going to trace a backward circle. So you're going to trace anti-clockwise. Big sweeping motions. Inhaling for half, exhaling for half. As you complete your last one, you're going to bend your knees, ground your feet. Our working leg this time is going to be right leg. Arms are T-framed, palms up. We're going to hug our tree as we come into our glute bridge, peel the toes off, and then find a slide pattern on the right before regrounding. Shoot for 10 repeats. Once you've done roughly 10, you're going to roll onto your second side. You're going to find that long stack working leg is the one on top. You're going to float up and you're going to start to trace your anti-clockwise circle. Once you've done roughly 10 traces, you're going to find your way to the runway alongside your mat or your side hustle. Set yourself up, walking through your burpee slide, beginning to find a working rhythm that makes sense for you. Abs engaged and working. Let's shoot for 2 more burpee sliders. We'll end in a plank line and then we'll find our way back to the mat. Rolling onto the back, bending our knees, grounding our feet. This time we're going to look for a little tricep bend. So we're going to start in our bridge-like setup, feet grounded. We're going to float the hands overhead, shoulders anchored, and all we're going to do is we're going to bend at the elbow and extend. You could do this with a reaching hand or a fisted hand. If you've got a little set of dumbbells, you can even add some weight to your movement. So that's all that the arms are going to be doing. Let's do that twice more. And then we're going to add our little glute bridge. So as you bend your elbows, you're going to bleed up into your glute bridge, toes off the mat, and then you're going to reground for 10. Toes peeling off, nice squeeze into the glute. Peeling up and down in one fluid, almost soft thrusting motion. Toes off the mat for the glute bridge. Shoulders nice and heavy into the mat as you play with that bend and extend through the arms. Let's do one more and then we'll come into a working clam line. So you're going to squeeze the 2 hands together. Keep pressing into the palms and draw the legs into a narrow tabletop. We're going to open into clam. We're going to add a chest lift, reach through, and then close the clam. Rinse and repeat. Once you've done roughly 10, you're going to roll onto the side of the body. Stack your body in one long line. We're going to take the top leg, we're going to bend at the knee, and we're going to tap either the big toe or all the toes or the whole foot to the floor behind. So see what works for you. You're going to lift the bottom leg so that it's hovering just off the floor, and you're going to trace a small forward tracing circle with that big toe for 10. Slow and controlled. Then find your way onto your back. Bend your knees, ground your feet. Float your hands, palms looking into the center line, and find your tricep bend for 5, either with reaching fingers or with a fist or with dumbbells. Now add to that tricep movement. So every time you bend, you're going to give me a glute bridge, peeling your toes off the mat. Once you've done roughly 10 repeats, you're going to squeeze the two hands together. You're going to find a small tilted imprint, and you're going to pull your legs into a narrow tabletop. We're going to clamp and then do a chest lift, reach through. Halfway. Last one. From here, you're going to roll onto your second side, stacking your body in one long line. You're going to take your top leg, you're going to bend at the knee, you're going to tap either your big toe or all the toes or the whole foot to the floor behind you. And you're going to use the inseam of the bottom leg to find a small lift. You're going to keep that lift, and you're going to trace a clockwise circle with your big toe, tracing the circumference of a tennis ball. Once you've done roughly 10 traces, you're going to roll into your back. Bend your knees, ground your feet. We're going to add to our previous movement pattern. We're going to play with a single leg slide, and let's do left leg only on this side. So float your hands up, palms looking into the center line. You're going to find your tricep bend as you peel up into the glute bridge, toes off. You're going to hold the glute bridge. You're going to slide your left leg out and back, and then re-ground bum and arms come overhead again. Let's shoot for 10 repeats, sliding left side only, and trying for not too much of a profound drop on the left hip as you slide. So you're trying to control and stabilize as best you can through the core. Let's shoot for one more, and then we'll come back into our clam work. Squeezing the two palms together, making a press steeple. You're going to keep that press active. You're going to think small tilt and imprint, and you're going to find your narrow tabletop line. We'll walk this through first before we do it together. You're going to give me one clam, one chest reach through, reground, squeeze the legs together, and then extend both before repeating the pattern. Clam to chest, reach through to leg extend. That was one. Halfway. As you complete your last set, roll onto your side, working leg, left leg is going to be on top. You're going to stack your body in one long line. You're going to bend your top leg. You're going to tap to the floor behind you, either big toe, all the toes, or the foot. You're going to find the inseam of your bottom leg to lift and hold. And this time we're going to trace an anti-clockwise circle. Once you've done roughly 10 repeats, you're going to roll onto your back, bend your knees, ground your feet. Hands are going to float overhead, palms looking in. We're going to start with the feet grounded. As we come into the tricep bend, you're going to peel your toes off coming into the lift. We're going to slide right leg only this time to reground. Shoot for roughly 10 repeats, trying for not too much of a profound drop on the right hip as you extend the leg. So you want to try to control the tilt and minimize the tilt as you come into the extend pattern. Halfway. Let's shoot for one more before we find our way into our clam work. Onto the back. Squeeze the two palms together in prayer. Keep that squeeze going. Find a small tilt and imprint and draw your legs into a narrow table. Clam to chest lift, reach through. Then close the legs and extend. Shoot for roughly 10 repeats. Halfway. Once you've done roughly 10 repeats, you're going to find your way onto the second side of the body, stacking your body in one long line. You're going to bend your top leg, ground the big toe, all the toes, or the whole foot to the floor behind you. Use the inseam of your bottom leg to find a lift, and then begin to trace an anti-clockwise circle for 10. Once you've done roughly 10 traces, you're going to flip over, finding your way into a 4-point kneel on the mat with your knees on the very edge of your mat. You're going to give me a long tabletop line through the neck and the spine. You're going to slide the right leg back and then the left leg. Staying here, regrounding knee for knee. We'll do 5 of these. You're feeling strong, you're going to begin to work in a plank line. And you're going to think slow driving motion through the knees for 10. Hold a strong plank for 10. And then come into a rapid fire climbing motion. Find your way back into your plank. Drag into a little bear hold. Find your way onto the haunches. Reground your feet and peel up into a roll up. We're going to roll up and down for 5. Finding those abs as you roll it down. Undoing those abs as you roll it back up. So think big inhale to prep. Find the contraction in your abs to bleed you down. Take a full recovery inhale at the end. And then exhale to undo that contraction in the abs, to restack and to realign. This is where you can end, or if you're feeling strong, you can find your way into your hustle one last time. Looking for that burpee walk through or slide through. Two more to go. Last one. We'll end standing this time after our hustle. Peel back up, restacking, realigning. Hands to pray to end of your hustle. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's hustle. Till next time, keep it light.